Welcome to our Habitat for Humanity home maintenance class. My name is Paul Gusty, and I'm a volunteer instructor with Habitat for Humanity. I always like to start these classes with a disclaimer. I am not a professional carpenter or a plumber or an electrician or a professional painter. I am, in fact, just like you. I am a homeowner. And I have maybe gotten a little bit more experience than you have at this point in your stage of home ownership because I've owned several houses and I've gained some experience working on them over the years. So I would like to share with you today what I've learned, and maybe you will take that and become more confident about tackling some of the projects that will come up in your house. So with that said, let's get started. Now we're going to show you how you can repair a damaged window screen, such as this. This one has seen better days. Maybe somebody's cat got this, I don't know. But if you do have a broken window screen, you can easily repair it. And one of the things in our class that we are often told is people had no idea how easy it was to repair one. And some of them just left their screens broken for a long time because they didn't know what to do about it. But it's pretty easy to fix. And so here's what we're going to cover. And this is your first choice of what you need to buy to repair. Obviously, you need new screening. And you have several options that you'll find in your hardware store where you buy the screening. It comes in a roll like this, and you want to make sure your roll is big enough to cover your screen. And then you have a choice of color. This is black, obviously, and they also make like a bronze color and a gray color. So you can choose whatever matches your house. And then maybe most importantly is the mesh of the screening itself. How tightly woven it is, and also how thick I'm going to call it the threads that are in the mesh screen. The thicker the thread, the tighter the hole between the threads, and the tighter that is, the less visibility you have out the window. So the less light that would come through the window. So they make screens that have a finer fiber, and that would let more light in, more visibility, and you can look out and see better. So you decide what you want. And the ones that have less visibility clearly are stronger because they have a thicker fiber. So that's a choice that you need to make. And so that's the screening. And then you may or may not need to buy some what's called spline. And it's just this kind of a rounded rubber string, if you want to call it that. And they make this in various different diameters. So you need to, what the easiest thing to do would be to take the old spline out of your window. You can just pull it up and out. And you may need to use a screwdriver to get this thing pried out to start with. And just measure the diameter of this, and then if you need new spline, buy your new spline with the exact same diameter. And you may not need new spline if you can carefully pull the spline out. There's a little groove, by the way, that goes in alongside the edges of the window frame. And the spline sticks in there, and it comes out pretty easily. And that's what's holding your screen in place in the frame. So this pretty simple comes out. Okay, so honestly, you could reuse that once you replace the screen. But we're going to start with a fresh spline. Let's just say that was damaged or something. And then you're going to just work the screen right out of here. It was just pressed inside these channels, and it comes out super easy. Okay, and we'll toss that broken screen away. And I'll cover another tool that you're going to need, and this is called a spline tool. There's your spline, here's your spline tool. And it has a groove in this wheel. This wheel turns, and there's a groove in it, and you can grab the spline inside the groove, and you're going to use this tool to force the spline back into the channel that we just pulled it from. And then there's another side of the tool that doesn't have a groove, and once you get it in there, if you want to push it further down, you can use this tool to push it further down, or this side of the tool. Okay, so now all we need to do is to measure the screen to fit the window. And you're going to end up cutting it, obviously. So I'm going to have it fit over, oh, like maybe an inch or something like that. And then you want to also line up, obviously the screen it's a crisscross. So you want the lines to be nicely perpendicular to the frame. You can just do this, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut the screen right here, just to make it easier to work with. We're going to cut it again. All right, now we're done with that. And we're going to come along. I'm going to cut the sides down so we have too much on the sides. So let's see, let's do that. And then I'm going to cut right here. And you don't want to cut too close. You don't need to, because we're going to cut it again when we're done. So just have it maybe sticking an inch over. Okay, get rid of that. So now we are ready for the spline and the spline tool. I could have cut that a little tighter, but that's okay. So here's our new spline. And you're just going to start near a corner, or at a corner. And what I like to do is just to put the spline over the channel. And you can't get the tool in the corner because it's a round tool and it's not going to get all the way to the corner. So I'll take a screwdriver and I'll just shove the spline in manually. You can kind of see the screen pulling as I push in. So it will get taut. So you don't want the screen to be too taut, because as you go around the edge, you're going to be driving it into that channel and it's going to pull it even tauter. So it could get too taut. I've actually seen frames that get warped because there's too much pressure on them. So you don't want it too relaxed. It's like Goldilocks, right? It has to be just right. You don't want it too relaxed so the screen just bows, but you don't want it so tight that it starts to warp the frame. Okay, but that sounds complicated, but it's really not. So I'm going to take my spline tool. I'm going to use the side with the groove in it, and I'm just going to come along. I just make sure I got my lines straight, and I'm going to come along and I'm going to place this right on top of the spline, and I'm going to start rollering it, and you can see that that's going down into the channel. And you just simply do this all the way around. Okay, now you get to a corner, and again, you can't go all the way, so you can leave enough room for that corner, or just use the screwdriver or some other tool that would do the same thing, and just force it into that corner. I got it that way, now I'm going to go this way. So I'm just going to finish this corner. Okay, so I'm going back to the spline tool, and we're just going to continue and do what we've done already. And now here's where you now have two sides, right? And so now you're controlling the tautness of the screen. So if I pull too hard like this, and then I shove the spline in there, it's just going to even put more pressure on it, and that's where we can get the bend in the frame. So we're just going to stretch it out a tiny bit just so it's fairly flat. And we still have some play here. And then watch how that gets less play as we push this in. Okay, you can also, if you want to, there's a little area here that maybe I want deeper, so I can use the other side of the spline tool and just push it down. And then you just come along at the end, when you're happy with your result, you come along with your utility knife, or a scissors would also work, and you're just going to cut the edge of the fabric. Okay, and that's your new screen. So now you've seen how you can go about repairing your own screens. You can see that it's fast, it's easy, and it's not that expensive. And that concludes our home maintenance course today. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me, and I hope you took away some useful lessons. And remember, if you're taking this course for credit, please take the test at the end of the course.